All right, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And before we go to our next guest, Congressman Lee Zeldin, who happens to be the only Jewish Republican in the House, I do believe, since Eric Cantor got cantored, and we could only hope Ryan gets cantored the way Yule's camp got cantored. I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Jewish Life TV. It's a vast audience. They're available on so many platforms, and welcome aboard. It's always great to have more viewers. And I tell you, if you know people who always say to you, gee, I don't have direct TV, I don't have Verizon Fios, I wish I could watch Malzberg and Newsmax. Well, they're on so many platforms. Go to the Jewish Life TV website, tell your friends to go there, and check and see in what state, in what region of the country. For instance, in New York and New Jersey, Time Warner carries Jewish Life TV. So there's a whole new world out there, and I hope you'll spread the word. Folks, I want to get to Congressman Zeldin, but first, I want you to watch this from the State Department spokesman about the payoff to Iran.
We don't pay ransom. We just don't pay ransom. It is our policy. This was not ransom. Any suggestion that it had anything to do with ransom is absolutely and utterly false. These were two separate processes run by two separate teams. Now, yes, they were done simultaneously, and so I understand the coincidental nature here, the timing, but absolutely had nothing to do with ransom.
So,
we do not and will not pay ransom.
All right, well, you get the point of his remarks. Joining us now is a man who may have a different take on that. Republican Congressman from the great state of New York, Lee Zeldin, member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee on Terrorism, member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee as well. Hello, Congressman.
Mr. Malzberg, it's good to be back on with you.
Yeah, it's good to be have my show back to myself. Not that I didn't love JD, but we're in new studios, and one day you got to come up and visit us live in person here. So, your take on this unbelievable shenanigan, if you will, and that's being polite about it. They say the timing was just coincidental, that on the day the hostages were released, they decided to fly this cargo plane full of all kinds of denominations and currencies on a midnight flight to Tehran. What do you think?
Well, it's beyond unbelievable to claim that it's just coincidence. You have literally a taxpayer-funded fiction writer in the White House, Ben Rhodes, and they come up with these narratives of how to spin everything, and they have their minions either within the media or throughout the American public who will say whatever they put out of the Obama administration. They will not question it. If they say it's a coincidence that $400 million cash would be flown at the exact same time as negotiating and releasing 4 of our American hostages, if they say that's a total coincidence, they have literally millions of Americans who have drank way too much of the Kool-Aid and will not question anything. There's no doubt that it's ransom. The Iranians brag about how it's ransom. It sets a horrible precedent in that we already have more Americans being unjustly imprisoned over in Iran, as well as foreigners from nations which are our allies being unjustly imprisoned. The consequence of a horrible foreign policy on the part of this president, misleading the American public when he gets caught with this secret transaction that he never told anyone that there was $400 million cash getting sent over, and he doesn't even have the authority to decide that he's going to send $400 million cash like that without telling the American public, without telling Congress.
All right, well, that's to my point. And by the way, I didn't mention that you're a veteran, you're in the reserves, you're a JAG. So, I mean, this all hits home to you especially. So, if he doesn't have the authority, you may not be the guy in the position to answer this, so I won't ask it the way I would ask Paul Ryan. But I'll preface it by saying, so what are you guys going to do about it? What would you like to see done about it? Hearings? What's the next step?
Well, several different things. One is a hearing is important because one of Congress's important roles is oversight. And that hearing, I want to see Secretary John Kerry come to Congress and answer questions that are being asked and they are evading. I would like for him personally to be answering those questions. The oversight role is important. Legislatively, the Obama administration negotiated away the leverage that brought the Iranians to the table. The Iranians were not there because we asked nicely, because we smiled and gave them a hug, or because they wanted to be good world actors. They wanted the money. So at the very least, we need to extend the Iran Sanctions Act, which is due to expire by the end of the year. But on top of just extending it, I would be supportive of strengthening it. But here would be my message to those on the other side of the aisle. Just because I'm in favor of strengthening it, it does not mean that I'm insisting on it where we can't at the very least extend it, which is the administration wants to just let it expire. And as far as vetting, we are electing a new president of the United States. These issues matter. I want to see this come up in presidential debates. I want to see Hillary Clinton start having press conferences again. Any opportunity for the media to ask, what are you going to do about Iran? We need to more thoroughly vet our presidential candidates so that we know exactly what they're going to do on day one. These are just a few thoughts that come to mind that are all important.
No, they're good. They're good thoughts. Well. Yeah, good thoughts. Let me ask you about this controversy. As of yesterday, Wolf Blitzer was still badgering Republican guests. I forget offhand who it was. But shouldn't Donald Trump apologize to Mr. Khan? We have learned so much about Mr. Khan. Now, I have other Gold Star family members who lost loved ones, one in Benghazi, others in Iraq, who have said, why is this guy special? Look how Hillary's treated us. Look how the State Department treated me. Do you believe the media is being selective here? Do you believe Khan is legitimately just a grieving father, or that he's inserted himself into the political arena and he now becomes fair game?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. First off, there is what needs to the media is selective, and to that point, if you are Donald Trump, if you are a Republican entering into this particular debate, you need to understand that the deck is completely stacked against us. You point out one example on CNN, and obviously, we could spend all day thinking about all of the other examples out there of how the deck is stacked. What we need to say every single time, because we deeply and passionately believe this, is that Khan's son is a hero. And every Gold Star parent, every Gold Star family all throughout this country, for everything that they sacrificed, gets our incredible, deep commitment and thank you and appreciation for what they sacrificed in defense of our freedoms and liberties. And when we move on past that, when something is said by a Gold Star family that you need to respond to, it's important to respond to the substance of what was said. And what happened here is almost, it is an unforced error to go beyond just dealing with the substance of an accusation and ask a question about why his wife, why the mother didn't speak. Personally, if you're thinking it in your head, maybe if you want to say something, with others, you do that, with those in your family or maybe your campaign manager. You don't have to do it on a Sunday morning news show. You don't have to do it on Twitter.
Right.
With all that being said, when anyone, I don't care who it is, when anyone makes a substantive accusation, and you're running for president of the United States, a substantive accusation as it relates to policy, you have absolutely every right to defend yourself on that particular accusation. And from that standpoint, that is where a lot has gotten lost, because there is a policy proposal here that is being debated, that is being vetted, and the American people deserve to be as informed as possible on the substance, understanding the contrast.
Right.
But if we want to try to make all things equal, what about the fact that Hillary Clinton on the tarmac lied to the parents of these Benghazi victims to their face
and then lied about lying to them?
Yes, and then lied to the American public, lied to Congress, but most importantly, lied to those families to the face. If Donald Trump, 12 years ago, was the Secretary of State and was on the tarmac with the Khans and lied to them to their face as to how and why their sons died, then maybe we can say that all things are equal with what Hillary did. But what we really need to do is have a substantive debate on the policy and not get lost. And that's where really all sides are responsible to do their part. to make sure that we're having a substantive debate on what matters most for the future of this country.
Yep. Congressman, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very, very much. Please come back soon.
I look forward to it. Take care.
All right, Congressman Lee Zeldin, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, if you watch Newsmax TV on DirecTV, we'll be moving our primetime shows to channel 366 in another week. So you can begin watching us there now. So get it done. Check us out. We're not leaving DirecTV. We're moving from the channel you're watching now to 366. Okay? Up next, Wayne Allen Root, former Libertarian vice presidential nominee and Trump supporter. Don't go away.